What happened? What happened to those good old days when you used to kiss each other, love on each other? Like you can't wait to get back home just to see your lover, your wife. What happened to those days? Why are we drifting apart? If you're new here, subscribe and share this video with a friend. Just click that bell icon and so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos, because I think they will be worth the watch. We started this video with the question, what happened to those days? At some point in our relationships, our marriages, we ask ourselves that question, because drifting apart is real.
And I feel like it's easy for couples to drift apart, especially during like these big transition periods, like say during pregnancy, after pregnancy when the baby's here, during work transitions, someone has gotten a busy job or someone has left their work, or there's so many things that, because marriage is a lifetime. It's a lifetime thing, and so much can happen in between there that you drift apart. The question is, do you know that you're drifting apart? Can you tell what has made you drift apart? Why do couples drift apart?
Let us know in the comments below, what is your opinion on drifting apart? Is it even possible for you to have a marriage, a relationship where you just never drift apart? Let us know in the comments below. And like Daisy said, there's so many seasons in marriage, and every season comes with its own meal. And sometimes you find that you're pregnant, you have a toddler, you have a lot of work to do. Your husband is never home because he's
sometimes
also busy
it's also unmet expectations.
And deep within you feel like your wife doesn't understand that you're now working so hard just to make sure the family is surviving under a roof. And she's also like, how come this guy doesn't understand that? Am I saying some truth here?
Yeah, continue.
And sometimes your wife doesn't probably understand that, you don't understand that she also needs you at home. And she's asking herself, what could I possibly have done better? Should I have chosen another man? Or
Did I make a mistake?
Are all men like this? And slowly you start to drift apart.
I think let's share some of the experiences that we've had drifting apart. I feel like the very first time we recognized that we were drifting apart was in the first year of our marriage.
What happened?
During that transition of trying to figure out this monster called sex. In my head, we've had it 1 week, we're good to go. Until next week, see you later. My husband, on the other hand, was not having it. So at some point, we found that I was living the vida loca. Me, I was kawa, but my husband was
walking
struggling.
Away.
Yeah.
Drifting.
He was drifting away.
Yeah.
Do you want to share on that?
In summary, yes. I was asking myself, what did I
sign up for?
Is this what everybody goes through? Was it a lie that
you are confident
when you get into this thing, it's going to be like this? And honestly, yes, I was most of the time just not interested in even a hug, because now
you're going to hug me, but
what now? Because her physical, her love language is touch, and I'm like,
Don't touch me when it's not leading anywhere.
Yeah, like just want me to hug you. You want me to just, sit here next to you and just, just be here together with
Cuddle.
you, touch you. And like we are going to do just that until say next month.
Next week. Was it so bad?
So yeah, I was.
Yeah. So how did we recognize that we were drifting apart?
The advantage we had was that we were sensitive even before we got married. We were really good friends before we got married. That helped. And we found it easy to just understand when something wasn't exactly right. Like on my side, it was difficult for me sometimes to express myself to you or just calmly give you an answer. So if you say, hey love, we don't have tomatoes today, or
we need to go shopping.
We need to go shopping. And in my head I'm like, so
why are we eating when I can't eat?
Yeah, so
yeah.
So it would be easy for me to give answers like, but I just bought tomatoes yesterday, how come they're already done? And then you can tell in my tone that
something is off.
Yeah. So,
and I think something that you expressed that time when we were sorting this was that you felt like you couldn't tell me exactly what the issue was because you felt like this girl is going to think that I'm just horny all the time.
Yeah, like I'm one of those
sex maniacs. But anyway, so we had that conversation. We had to get to a point where he was so vulnerable, and he told me exactly how that made him feel, what his expectations were, and how I was meeting them or not. Yeah, we had to have a candid conversation. So when you realize that you are drifting apart, ways that you can realize is communication changes. The way that your partner talks to you changes. The way they respond to you changes. Even just their demeanor. You find maybe he used to leave home for work at 7 a.m. but now he wants to go by 6 so that he can just be somewhere else and not think about the issues that he is facing. And the first step of solving that is vulnerable communication. Both of you. It's hard for men to get vulnerable, especially about some of these things that are, they have them
obvious.
Being macho. They think they're obvious. They're not obvious all the time, but you have to get to a point as a couple where you actually talk. And you, the person that is the offender, have to get to a point, like you have to humble yourself enough to accept your part, the part that you have played in getting your relationship to this point. Accept the responsibility you have taken in getting yourselves to this point, and then start to work on that. Yeah.
And I also think that drifting apart calls for a lot of sensitivity. If there's a video we did a while ago, which was talking about how best do you know your spouse. If you're still in that enjoyment season, that dream season, which all of us should thrive towards, there are those things that you can discuss with your wife, especially during date night, or your fiance. Try to understand what makes you like crazy mad about something. What do I do that makes you unhappy? Or if I ever did A, B, C, D, how would you react? How would it make you feel? So that now when that time comes, if it comes then you might be able to tell something isn't right, because sometimes we could actually drift apart because of our personal challenges.
Let's put a pin in that one. We're going to talk about that one
Right.
a bit later. I wanted us to also talk about drifting apart due to things that we can't control. Say, for example, someone is pregnant and hormones are just raging everywhere.
Just like today. There's a reason why I am the one who started this video, because anyway.
Yeah, hormones
Continue.
are doing things to me. So, what do you do? Let you be the one to speak. What do you do in cases where hormones are the ones that are causing us to drift apart? Like, you don't know how to handle this babe. She's always crying. Everything I say, she's going to cry.
What do I do when you are doing that? Sometimes I don't know what to do, actually, because every day has its own experience.
New day, new face.
Yeah, but at least I know, like deep within, she loves me, and I love her too. And knowing that, then it's easy for me to calm down, because if you know that the problem is not you, it's usually advisable for you to be the peaceful one. That's what I do anyway. I try to keep calm, try to to ask if she says I'm okay, then the best I can do is support where she needs me to support to the best of my ability, because we're all human beings. So it's not possible for me to be 100% exactly how she wants me to be, but at least I will try to be as calm as possible, try to speak the language. Maybe if she needs to sit and cuddle, maybe we can do that. Or if she needs like some acts of service, maybe shower the kids and things like that, then you're not in really anyway. That kind of thing would kind of soften the whole tension, and then she might be able to say, oh, thank you for today, today I was feeling like this, like that, because it sometimes may not exactly be your problem. It might be something your partner is going through within that can cause you to, or them to start to drift away from you. It's because drifting is so dynamic. It can be
sometimes it's one person
drifting away because of their own challenges or because of what you've done. Sometimes it can be both of you because you're just disagreeing on almost everything. And so understanding case by case kind of scenario would help. But the most important thing is to find out whether this person still loves you and whether you still love the other person. That's a good starting point to now get to understand how can we solve whatever is happening between us.
I think that calls for empathy in such scenarios.
Yes.
Being empathetic, trying to put yourself in your partner's shoes and understanding what is making them feel the way that they're feeling, what's making them act the way that they're feeling. Because sometimes, honestly, we have no control. I'm speaking for myself, hormones. Sometimes you just have no control. Like you want to will yourself to maybe be happier. You want to will yourself not to cry. You want to will yourself to have the energy to pick up whatever slack, but it's just not there. Yeah. So it calls for you empathizing with your partner.
Some of the things that will bring about like that drifting thing has a lot to do with a situation which either your partner is going through on their own and it's difficult for them to maybe share it with you, but then now they start to drift up away from you unknowingly. And some of the things, I'll give you an example, on the men's side, for example, you'll find that maybe you have a soccer team you support, and you just keep losing. Maybe you bet, is it betted, or you bet some money,
Bet.
and
Lost it.
you lost
Then you
all
can't
the
tell
money,
your wife.
and then your team just keeps losing.
One thing I'm grateful for, guys, side note, is that Mark doesn't support football.
And then the other thing, you find that maybe you're broke, or like every deal that you try to make,
Falls through.
it falls through, or maybe
Or
somebody,
loss of jobs.
or maybe you have all these, like you see your school fees is like just 6 months away, and you have no plan, you have no money, you have all kinds of things. And for men, those are usually the things that cause us to like kind of find some peace somewhere, and maybe get agitated when, say, your wife is just on your case. It's like you don't understand, you're never around, you don't care about us anymore. Sometimes you find that you push away the man even more by what you say, so he drifts away faster than
he would have.
And he drifts away from you faster than you're drifting away from him. Or you stay in this one place, but he's drifting because you're giving him. Now I'm giving them our perspective, and you find that you give him a comment like, "I no longer get you these days," or "Yeah, what happened to you?" Or
Well, every deal you get just falls through. Like,
yeah, or you like, the day you ever take me out, the rain
It will rain.
And those subtle comments. Maybe different men are different, but I'll be honest, most whether they are sanguine or whatever personality, the comment that your wife gives you is very, very important to you. The way your wife supports you, talks to you, says anything about you, says a lot. It contributes a lot to how fast you drift away from each other.
I think, babe, that you're touching on ego and pride. There's some friends of ours who, in the second year of their marriage, were drifting apart because of ego and pride from both parties. So you find two very strong-headed people constantly clashing. And I remember we talked to them first together, but then they took us separate, like wife, husband. And when Mark and I got back together and were comparing notes, everyone just wants their point to be the one that is fronted. So at some point they were telling us, I'm tired of this marriage. Like, what's this nonsense? How can we be married for just 2 years and I'm experiencing this? Do you remember that?
Yeah, marriage is so beautiful, but it's just so interesting how when you're in it, you could easily make that decision. Of course, it's a very regrettable decision to make.
Yeah.
To,
go your separate ways.
Yeah, but you just see how easy it is to make the decision in the moment.
Yeah.
Because you reach a point, you come to your senses, you're like,
what are we doing?
Why am I here? Every morning, my wife leaves me in bed. Every evening, I find her in bed. Whenever I get home, she's asleep. Or whenever, I bring shopping things here, she's like, you're always shopping things which we don't eat. So like you touched on that point, drifting apart has a lot to do with communication. And the earlier you detect the drifting, the better. And I think it's something I'm grateful to God for in this relationship, especially Daisy. Daisy, I think, recognizes the drifting earlier than I do.
I have a sharp antenna.
Yeah, and she's always like, we're drifting apart. And in my mind, sometimes I ask,
You're like, are we?
I ask her silently, like I ask the question in my mind, like, can't you see like what
Everything that's
going on? And sometimes, life hits you, directions. You're studying, you have a job, you have feed people, you have to drop kids at school, and then there's just that it's like you're working
There's
in a
never
factory.
time for just you. Two.
Yeah. But there always is. Yeah, there always is, like at least 5 minutes. 5 minutes where you can, say, how's your day? What are you working on? What's up? What do you think about me? Can we meet on Sunday? Like at least for 2 hours. I know I can make some time. And the most for me, what I feel has worked for us is the talking, because when I see my wife quiet, I know that, like, if we don't talk much, I know that she needs to be talked to, otherwise something isn't right.
Yeah. And sometimes, sorry to cut you, baby, sometimes it's even simple things, like just ask your wife, what was your highlight? What was the highlight of your day? What was the downside of your day? Just that in itself can be a conversation starter. We also do date night usually when we realize that, like, when was the last time we had date night? When was the last time it was just the two of us, no kids, no one around us, like just us having fun, talking.
Yeah.
Sometimes we sit in the car longer after we've arrived at home and just talk. So it's for you to recognize and then know how to get that connection back.
Yeah. And for me, those are my best moments, because the nature of the work that my wife does, she has to be quite active on her device. So those moments where we just look at each other and just
no phones, no gadgets.
Say, hey, this is what's going on. This is my plan. For me, that draws me very close to her. Maybe because of my personality, and it's just what works for both of you is what will help with the drifting. Because as far as I'm concerned, everybody reaches that point where it's just the extent of the drifting that we have control over. But every day there's an opportunity to drift
apart.
And it's like a seed. It just keeps
There's something we put a pin in that I want us to pick up now. So we were having a conversation with one of our marriage sales about a month ago, and my husband was just sharing on mental health for men and how he has become more aware of it in the last year, like, where you find that men are not necessarily quiet because they don't want to say, but sometimes they don't know how to say. Sometimes they don't even know that they are not okay, but like just something is off, but they don't know what. And for fear of looking weak before your wife, you keep quiet. Would you want to talk more on that, babe?
I don't know if we have time.
It's a time when you call your husband to listen.
I don't know if we have time.
We do this. We can make this a 2-part.
Now, if I believe most of the most important thing for the man in the home is his mental health, because as much as he's he's the provider, and
the leader, the head,
and everything. He wants to be. There's that inner feeling of a man to belong all the time, and unfortunately, I'm just trying to. I hope I'm saying what you want me to say, but
no, say what you want to say.
Unfortunately, our culture has made men that
Like you have to
that
cover
thing.
up, always be strong. A
That-
man can't cry.
That thing, that tool, that you know, he's that part of the family that you know, must always be okay, and we don't care about him or it, in quotes,
that part.
until unfortunately his funeral.
God forbid.
You know,
God forbid.
on the funeral service, you know, that's when it dawns on the family that he was such a